Good afternoon. My name is María Herrera, and I will be presenting you this teaching strategy called Guided Debate with Roles. So first of all, I will be following this outline in which I will first of all explain the main objective of using this dynamic in your class settings. Then I will proceed to explain it more deeply. And for that, I will use a practical example as a way to analyze the activity itself. And then I will also comment on benefits of using this activity in class. And finally, I will provide you with a final conclusion. First of all, this dynamic, normally when we are thinking about role play, it's an activity that is very useful when addressing students who are in an intermediate level, that is B2, aiming to reach a C1 level. And here, this activity helps them develop key skills. In particular, these three are fundamental. Number one would be critical thinking. Number two, argumentation. And number three, communication in the classroom. As I said before, the name of the activity is Guided Debate with Roles. And this activity involves the organization of students to debate a specific topic, while also taking on different roles within the debate. First of all, we need to prepare the topic, and I chose one, which is the impact of technology on language teaching, or here on language learning. It would be very useful to provide students with some prompts, because usually when students are in an intermediate level, they need prompts to push themselves and use more complex grammatical structures, like, for example, conditional formulae, or even reported speech in English, for example. In Spanish, the subjunctive would be fundamental. So it would be very useful to provide students with flashcards indicating these prompts, so that they can, not only they can, but they have to use them. Then we would proceed to distribute the roles, and here I marked 5 main roles. The first one would be moderator, and this would be the ones who organize the debate. They make sure that speaking turns are respected. Then the defenders, they argue in favor of the topic, whereas the opponents they will be presenting arguments against the topic. The critical observers will be evaluating the arguments and also providing feedback. And finally, the summarizers, like the name itself says, they will be summarizing points, main points at the end of the debate. Then when considering the structure of this debate, it would be convenient to follow some steps. So first of all, we would have the moderator introducing the topic and also setting the rules. Then both defenders and opponents present their perspectives, their points of view, and they would do that in different rounds. And then there would be a general discussion in which critical observers might ask questions, and also this would be a great time for doubts, for addressing any information that is not very clear. Finally, the summarizers will present the main points that have been discussed, and these will be followed by a quick group reflection. Now, regarding the specific example, let's imagine that in a B2 Spanish class, we are debating the use of artificial intelligence in language learning. Here, for example, the defenders will argue that AI is an effective tool for personal development and also for them to learn faster and enhancing teaching. However, the opponents will raise their worries, their concerns regarding the lack of human interaction and the risk of dehumanization in teaching. This would be an example that could happen in any of your classes. And now the question would be how roles impact the outcome. So here the moderator has to make sure that time limits are respected, like we mentioned before, and also that everyone has to speak. This is an activity that encourages human expression and also the use of new or more complex grammatical structures. Then the critical observers will assess the depth of the arguments by asking questions that could lead to further debate. And lastly, the summarizers will provide a more balanced view of the advantages and disadvantages of AI in education. Now, when thinking about benefits, we need to analyze these three main elements. First, role-playing while teaching foreign languages helps students develop their teaching skills and their learning skills because they are learning while also explaining others. So this dynamic is particularly useful for future teachers also. And in general, it's an activity that helps students moderate class discussions, and it also fosters critical thinking and manages productive debates among their students, among different students. But it's important to consider the target audience we are addressing here. And then there would be the strengthening skills for Spanish learners. Here, for Spanish as a foreign language students, this task is crucial since it allows them to practice their oral and argumentative skills in Spanish. And also, it helps them improve their fluency and their ability to express more complex ideas. And a final benefit of the role-playing strategy when teaching foreign languages is that it encourages collaboration and classroom management. So this perspective promotes teamwork and also participation in groups, while also training future teachers on how to structure debates and activities that are encouraging these dynamic learning activities. So finally, when we are thinking about role-playing here, the main conclusion is that the guided debate with roles is very flexible. It's a very flexible pedagogical instrument that we can use because it can be adapted to different teaching areas. We can adapt it to teach specific vocabulary. We can also encourage students to use more advanced grammatical structures, and also they will be utilizing the different intonation, melody while speaking, and that's very important when mastering a foreign language. And finally, this strategy promotes active student participation, and at the same time, it helps students to develop both communication and classroom management skills. As I said before, this activity is very complete to provide students with a very practical use of the language, and it's fundamental to naturalize and internalize these grammatical structures that they have been practicing with exercises. But here, with this activity, they can utilize them with a more practical perspective. I would like to thank you for your attention, and now I would be very happy to listen to your questions or any doubts you might have. Thank you very much.